All right, guys, if you can find a seat, we're going to get started. Let me have my clerk of court candidates to come sit up here. Everybody else is okay, but gotta make them front and center. So originally, I was going to just let invite the congressional candidates to speak to you guys, but because we have two other candidates for office in Macon County, they took the time out to come out here, and because they did that, I'm gonna give them the floor. So we're gonna start with District 2 in Macon County Commissioner. Mr. Don Willis is gonna come up and he can introduce himself. He'll have 2 to 3 minutes just to tell you a little bit about himself, okay? So this is Macon County. District 1. Oh, District 1, just kidding. He'll have 2 to 3 minutes to kind of talk to you guys for a minute.
Hi folks, can everybody hear me? Or I have a mic. Okay. I'm Don Willis. I'm running for County Commissioner in District 1. I have been a public servant to Macon County for over 30 years. I initially started out my career as a volunteer firefighter in the late 80s, and that led me to becoming the Macon County Fire Marshal in the 90s. I went into law enforcement in the late 90s, was hired by Sheriff Homer Holbrook, and I recently retired last year as a lieutenant over the Criminal Investigation Unit of Macon County Sheriff's Office. It's been my privilege, my honor, to be able to serve the citizens of Macon County. I wish to continue that trait. Some of the things that I have experience and leadership is that I know all the counties within Macon County. I've either inspected them or I've done a security assessment of all these buildings. So it gives me a little bit of a leg up and some knowledge that I can share with my other fellow commissioners if elected, and hopefully it will be, that I can pass along to them, and we can stop kicking the can down the road and start making some progress. Some things that I've got on my mind is that I would like to see education obviously is a top priority for me. I've been campaigning on that ever since I started. We're looking at the purchase of a new high school. We're looking at the possibility of a new law enforcement center down the road as well. These are issues that we're going to have to address, and we're going to have to come up with the funds to be able to make that happen. Now, several things that we can do is we can look for grants. We can look for the North Carolina Educational Lottery to see if maybe we can get some more funding that way. But there are options out there that we need to seek, and we need to ask the question if we can get this funding. We can also do a bond referendum and leave it up to the folks of Macon County to decide, where you want to go with this. The other thing, I'd like to see a trade school come to Macon County. We have an awful lot of trade here in Macon County, so I'd like to see a trade school come here. That way we can educate our graduates coming out of high school. They can either take carpentry work, welding, electrician. Let's get them set up for success and move them along.
And that's time.
Thank you very much. We are having a forum on Thursday night. Hopefully I'll get to see all of you once again. Please come, hear more of our platforms and all the candidates. We look forward to seeing you and meeting you. Thank you very much. Don Willis.
So I want to take just 2 seconds to explain a little bit about the ballot, because while you might know here in this room, there's people streaming and we're streaming it, and they might watch it, and I know I've gotten a lot of questions about this. So I want to explain to you the makeup of the Macon County Sheriff's, or the Macon County Commissioner's race. So there's District 1, which features candidates that represents it's Highlands, Ellijay, Scaly. Yep. So there, you can pick one candidate in that district. And so when you go to vote and you go to the ballot, there's going to be two candidates on that. The other candidate is John Sherrill. They're both Republican candidates that are on the primary election. You can pick one of those candidates. Then in District 2, that represents the greater Franklin area, there's a slew of names that are on that, and we're going to have all of these candidates Thursday, the same time and place, right here, and they're all going to be here answering questions just like the clerk candidates are tonight. But that's District 2, and you're going to be able to pick two of those candidates. And two of those candidates will then go on to the November election for the Democrats who will be on the ballot. So this is the primary election. They're only Republicans if you pull a Republican ballot. So, yeah, there's that. So the next candidate that showed up tonight, aside from the clerk candidates, is Clay Bryson, and he's running for Macon County Sheriff. So we'll give him 2 to 3 minutes.
Hello, folks. Didn't know I was going to have the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I've been at early voting all day today, so a little bit nasty, probably stinks, so I apologize for that up front. But I do want to say that I am one of your candidates for sheriff. You know, I'm a born-again Christian. That is first and foremost in my life. Second is my family, and third is my profession, and in that order. I will say I'm going to do tonight just a little bit different. We'll talk briefly. You know, I started my career back in about 2011, 2012 with one of the only sheriff cadet programs here in Macon County. With that being said, at the time, Robbie Holland, who is our current sheriff, was a volunteer for the sheriff's office. He was actually one of my mentors back when I was 11, 12 years old, so about 31, 32 years ago. In fact, to this day, I still have my sheriff cadet jacket hanging up in my closet. So I would dare say that has had an impact on where I am today. So that is a program, you'll hear me talk about education, that is a program that I'm wanting to bring back. Getting into that a little bit further down the road, I got married in 2014. My wife and I are blessed. I always told everybody, I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing, but we have 3 beautiful little girls, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 10-year-old. I promise you it was a blessing. They are the joy of my life. I also have a daughter from my first marriage that's grown. She's the behavioral health specialist for Highland School. She's got a degree in psychology, minor in education, and working on her master's in counseling. So she is doing awesome work up in Highlands, North Carolina with the youth and the community up there. So to say I'm blessed is an understatement. He blesses me on a daily basis, far more than I deserve. But I started my career out in early 2000. I've worked my way up through the ranks over the years. I currently serve as your captain over patrol, commander over a 12-man SWAT team, as well as I run and supervise the K-9 program here for the Macon County Sheriff's Office. I train all our dogs. I'm currently certified by 2 different organizations. I'm also nationally accredited as a dual-purpose police K-9 trainer. So I wear a lot of hats. Do a lot for the sheriff's office and have. Like I said, I've worked my way up through the ranks. I worked in narcotic investigations for 2 years where I specialize in criminal interdiction. I've worked in around every unit within our sheriff's office to know how those units operate. So I feel like I do have a vast knowledge in the sheriff's office to become the next sheriff of Macon County. However, in my 22-year career, I have focused on the drug problem here in Macon County. Now, with that being said, I have a 3-pronged approach on how I want to attack the drugs here in Macon County. First and foremost is the education of our youth. We have to do a better job at educating our youth. We're working on 4 more.
Thumbs up.
Finish it up briefly. Feel free, I'll stick around for a few more minutes, speak to everybody. The second is enforcement, the third is rehabilitation. And if you want to know how I intend to do that, please reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
And so now we will move on to the question or the introductions for our congressional candidates who are here. So I think it would be beneficial if we have the congressional candidates to come stand up here during this time period. Just because I think that'd be beneficial. So, and I'm doing this. I promise I have done this for 10 years now, and I still have yet to get the hang of it. So we will start, let's have Miss Woodhouse come up here and start off for us, okay? Thank you.
I was already standing there, so I guess
that's why
to
you
go
got
first.
Right
Thank
there.
you, and I'll try not to have my back to y'all, but thank y'all for being here. Thank you so much, Macon County, for having me tonight, putting this on. My mom and dad live here. My mom is a Franklin native, born and raised out in the Cowee, and so let me tell you a little bit about me. I'll first start with telling you what I'm not. I am not the Raleigh Country Club establishment centrist politician who's in this race, who is being funded by Tom Tillis. And I am not, sadly, where we're sitting right now, our congressman who has failed us and embarrassed our district, who is unelectable in November. Like many of you, I voted for Madison and supported him, but we're in a situation now where he cannot win in November, and he cannot serve right now in the House because no one wants to work with him, and it's put all of us in tremendous jeopardy. So I am the America First candidate who's running in this race, and I am the one who was asked to run when Congressman Cawthorn left our district to run in Charlotte by not only him, but members of leadership across the entire Republican Party. I served as the district chair across, at that time, all 17 of these counties. And so I'll be very brief in our 3 minutes here, because I'm going to make sure the timer doesn't go off on me. January 3rd, 2023, Republicans will take the House and the Senate, and we have to get to work immediately rolling back the failed policies that are crushing our families. So the first 3 things on my agenda would be, number 1, to close the border immediately and stop the drugs that are coming up through Western North Carolina, through Atlanta, from China to Mexico, up through Atlanta into Western North Carolina, and killing our children and our families. Number 2 would go back to energy-dominant policies that we had under Donald Trump. Love him or hate him, we had incredible policies when President Trump was in office on energy. We cannot buy oil from countries that want to kill us and hate us. And moving from one dictator to another dictator makes absolutely no sense when we have the resources here, because families in Western North Carolina are going to pay $5,200 more this year than they did last year on gas and groceries. $5,200. This congressional district is the oldest congressional district in the state of North Carolina. It is also has the most veterans. We have a lot of people on fixed incomes. We will stand with keeping Social Security and Medicare solvent. It is critically important because these economic policies are crushing Western North Carolina. So we're going to focus very closely on those 2 things, and we've got to get back to common sense policies. We have not had a debate on the House floor in over 6 years. We roll in 2,200-page bills at 1:38 in the morning and ask people to vote on them when no one's read them. That has to end. We have to get back to common sense policies. But friends, this seat is not for sale. So you're going to see a lot of smear pieces in your mailbox. You probably already have. And that's all coming from our Senator Tom Tillis, who's backing a candidate in this race. Senator Tom Tillis, who right now is working with Dick Durbin, the most liberal member of the Senate, on amnesty during the very worst crisis that we have in our country. Michelle Woodhouse, the timer hit me. We'll be here. You can also visit us at woodhousefornc.com. Thank you.
And then Mr. O'Connell.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I'm the non-politician. The only thing I've ever done is voted. I've run a business for 42 years. Never wanted any part of running for political office, but now I've got to do it. Michelle is right. The machine is trying to install the machine's choice. It is slimy. I almost feel sorry for Madison Cawthorn when I get those flyers and see those ads. It's unbelievable. To learn about me, I can't do it in 3 minutes. You've got to go to my Facebook page or my website, BruceO'Connell.com or Bruce O'Connell for Congress on Facebook. You can learn about me that way. I can tell you most of the Republican candidates believe the same way. Secure the border, energy independence, pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, but there are some differences. One of the differences is, for me, is that I realize there's a club up there in Raleigh, and there's a club in Washington.
Right.
And we ain't in it, folks. And the only way we're going to make a difference is if we send somebody to represent us that's not a member of that club and won't get sucked into it. I don't want a career term limiting myself, and I'm going to fight for term limits. I don't want the money. I'm not rich, but I don't need that money. My salary will be donated to education, veterans, and law enforcement. Every year I'm in office, I'll donate it. I'm going to make a point of taking care of the district at first. That's my priority. I realize as a freshman congressman, year one, I'll have very little impact in Washington, but I can have a lot of impact for y'all. I can work hard for the district and for education in the district. That's important. I can work for voter integrity in the district. That's important. I can work for health care in the district. That's what's important. I will not become one of them. I'm one of you. I work every day. That's all I've ever done. I've never been in politics. Remember that. Don't expect to change if you're going to send the same old people that have been doing it for years to Washington. They'll be the same, and they will not make a difference for you. My name is Bruce O'Connell. You can go to my Facebook page, Bruce O'Connell for Congress, or my website, bruceoconnell.com. Find out all about me. I am different in that I'm not a politician, and I promise you I will not become one. I will remain true to you. Thank you very much.
And he had 10 seconds to spare. Next up will be Senator Chuck Edwards.
Well, hi everybody. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. You know, they told me that when you begin to be perceived as the front runner in the race, then people start taking shots at you, and that's certainly been the case here. My name is Chuck Edwards, and I'm a businessman. I'm not a politician. I started behind the counter at McDonald's when I was 16 years old. I lived the American dream, worked hard, applied myself, realized the opportunities in this country. Now I own 6 McDonald's restaurants, and I have over 300 employees. I've had the true honor of serving in the North Carolina Senate for the last 6 years. And I hope that you look at electing a congressperson as a job interview, because I'm asking you to hire me. And if you put yourself in the seat of a business person looking to fill a position, do you not want somebody that has some experience? I believe that we should have someone that's had some experience. The 14-month experiment is over. And I think that we've proven that we need someone that can get things done. I am extremely proud to have worked alongside in the North Carolina Senate with Senator Jim Davis, Senator Kevin Corbin. I see Representative Carl Gillespie is here, who all of those 3 folks are endorsing my campaign, by the way. I believe that they're endorsing my campaign for Congress because they know I'm an outsider. They know that I can say no to the establishment. And they also know that I can get the job done. I have a work ethic. No one else in this race can say that they've actually cut your taxes. I'm proud to say that I have helped return $13 billion to North Carolina taxpayers. I'm proud to say that I'm the only person in this race that has actually passed legislation to outlaw sanctuary cities. I am proud to say that I'm the only person in this race that has actually balanced a government budget. And I'm proud to say that I'm the only person in this race that has actually passed significant election integrity reforms as we have done over the last few years, including getting voter ID on the ballot for you and getting the enacted legislation passed, and we're now fighting it into courts on your behalf. I'm endorsed by some of the more conservative groups that you will ever come across. My candidacy is endorsed by Americans for Legal Immigration because of the work that I've done standing up against illegal immigration in this state. My candidacy is endorsed by the North Carolina Police Benevolence Association because of the work that I've done with law enforcement. My time's up. I could go on forever. My name is Chuck Edwards. I would be honored to have your vote on May the 17th. Thank you.
And Miss Christy Sluder. It will be next.
Christy Tincher Moody Sluder. So, I'm born in Murphy, raised in Robbinsville, and I have spent my entire adult life in public service in this district. I have 28 years of experience fighting corrupt bureaucrats. Nobody in this race has more experience than I do fighting corrupt bureaucrats. When I get to Washington, I will work with Chip Roy. You know Chip Roy? You guys, did you see him interview Alejandro Mayorkas? Okay. Listen, here's what we have to do. We have to take out department heads. If we get up there and we have this red wave, and we're not able to take out the corrupt bureaucrats that are opening our borders, weaponizing our DOJ, corrupting our institutions of education, and not working out our supply chain issues, we are wasting our time. You know, David didn't run out on the battlefield to shake hands with the giants, right? And what did he say he was going to do when he got him on the ground? What did he say? You know? He said, I'm going to take your head off and I'm going to feed it to the birds. Listen, we have corrupt, evil, Marxist-based agendas that are atheistic. They hate the nuclear family. They hate the middle class. They hate our sovereignty as a sovereign nation, as citizens of a sovereign nation. Listen, globalists want open borders. What do we have? Open borders. Marxists hate the nuclear family and the middle class. What's happening to our nuclear families and our middle classes? The elitists, they want rules for you, but not for them. And we've seen that all throughout the mask mandates, right? So it's one thing to identify a problem, it's another thing to know what's causing it, and you have to understand the ideologies to know how they operate. It's another thing to understand them, but it's a whole other thing to take them out, okay? So when I get to D.C., I will work with those representatives that are already on the job. Chip Roy is one of them. He is calling for the resignation of Alejandro Mayorkas. That's the head of the Department of Homeland Security. He's why our borders are open. We need to call for the resignation of Pete Buttigieg for taking maternity leave during a COVID crisis and letting our supply chain issues get backed up and our inflation increase. We need to take out these insiders who are environmental activists that are evolutionists that see us as an invasive species. They cut our oil. We have to take these people out. We need to take out Merrick Garland, who is the head of the DOJ. And there are people calling for his resignation. And if we do not get that, and if we do not appoint people that will protect our constitutions, secure our borders, and keep our people safe, then we are wasting our time. When I get there, I will fight for you to keep you safe, take these people out, and make sure that you have what you need in this district, and I will be present and available. My name is Christy Sluder, and I appreciate your help, and I will work for you. Thank you.
And I believe that is our last congressional candidate in attendance. We had all of them except for the incumbent Madison Cawthorn RSVP and confirmed they were attending. I do not know why the other ones did not come. Mr. Honeycutt, I know, called me today at noon and said he was going to throw out the first pitch of a high school baseball game and do that instead of coming here, so I'm not sure about any of the other ones. So,
Brittany,
yes, sir.
I want to publicly challenge Chuck Edwards to a one-on-one debate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I had one with me that didn't show up.
So we will continue to our clerk of court
You sure?
forum. Yes, absolutely, 100%.
I guarantee
Do not get paid enough for this. So we will move on to our clerk of court forum. The congressional candidates, feel free to stick around if you want to talk afterwards or whatever you would like to do. There we go. So what we're going to start with is I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes to introduce yourselves. You've done this. You've talked to so many people already. We're into early voting. Let's just take 2 minutes to introduce ourselves for each person. We'll start with Sean and go down the line. And then once we get there, we will start with the questions that will be posed to every candidate. Sure. Okay?
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Lamb, and I am running for Clerk of Court. As many of you know, there is not a lot of public speaking in the office, so I am a little nervous. I have been married to Jimmy for 22 years, and we have 2 children. Kylie will be graduating from Macon Early College and Southwestern Community College and go on to Western. And then I have Keller, who is a junior at the Franklin High School. I am the granddaughter of the late Chief Ernie and the Gladys Wright, and the daughter of Charles and Gloria Thun. I graduated from Southwestern Community College with 2 degrees, one in criminal justice and the other one in computer information systems. While in college, I did my internship with the clerk's office, probation office, and the community service program. That is when I was offered a job in Jackson County at the Clerk of Court. I worked there from 2000 to 2003, then transferred to Macon County Clerk of Court. I have been dedicated for over 21 years in the office and am currently an assistant. I've taken many online and in-person classes, but I feel that the hands-on experience is much more qualified than any certificate. I work mainly in the criminal department, and I attend court, take notes on what happens in court. I type the judgments, I do the orders for arrest, I process all the paperwork from the agencies and make sure it is done correctly. I also process all the bond forfeitures, jury notices, including payments, and I have experience in small claims, divorces, domestic violence cases, and have been attending guardianship hearings. I have a great relationship with everyone that I work with and with the public. I love my job and I love what I do. My goal is to listen to the people of Macon County and provide a positive and effective clerk's office. It would be an honor to be the next Clerk of Court. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here today. My name is Justin Stamey, and I'm your candidate for Clerk of Superior Court. You know, it's been said throughout this campaign that we shouldn't just put anybody in this position, and they're right. You, the people, deserve a candidate that has the necessary education and experience, a candidate that will be fair and dedicated to serving all citizens of Macon County. As for my education, I hold a bachelor's degree from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte in political science and criminal justice. I also hold over 30 North Carolina judiciary certifications from the UNC School of Government and from the Administrative Office of the Courts. As for my experience, I have experience over 8 years as both a criminal and civil magistrate, hearing and adjudicating over 400 civil cases here in Macon County. And that's where the fairness comes in, because whether it was a case presented by an attorney or just by an everyday citizen, I have maintained a high standard for myself to be knowledgeable of the law and to apply it fairly and impartially to all individuals. Lastly, my dedication to serving you, the citizens, have been unwavering. I have put your needs before my very own, and when I am elected your next Clerk of Superior Court, I will gladly continue to do so. A vote for Justin Stamey in this Republican primary is a vote for a more efficient and effective judiciary for which you, the people, deserve. Thank you.
Shauna, I hate to put you on the spot, but can you hold this for me? We've got a good working relationship, guys. We truly.
Can everybody see it?
We truly do. First, I want to thank everybody for being here. My message tonight is the same message I've been given for a few months now, and that is I want to serve you. I'm not a politician, just like this man over here. I'm a public servant. I've been a public servant for about 35 years. 25 of that, I was lieutenant over civil process courthouse security. What I want to do is I want to focus on better customer service and build on what's already there. I asked Shauna to hold this up for one main reason. These are the responsibilities that the Clerk of Court has. Every one of these are mandated by state law, statutes. There's nothing on here that any of us will do any different. We can't. It's by statute. We have to follow the law. The only difference is leader. I've been a leader for 25 years. I've supervised the courthouse security for the last 15 years. This position is a leadership position. It's going to take a leader. Thank you.
that gives us the perfect segue into my first question. So for the last 15 years, the Office of the Clerk of Court has been supervised by Vic Perry, who is a Democrat on the ballot. He's a Democrat. He has run as a Democrat, he has been elected as a Democrat, and he has served as a Democrat. We are in a Republican primary, and all of you are Republican candidates. Switching the leadership from a Democrat potentially to a Republican candidate, tell me and tell the voters how you think that party affiliation will impact, specifically how you will use that party affiliation to impact the leadership and the role of the Clerk of Court within Macon County. And we'll start with Justin, since Shauna started first. For it.
Well, Mr. Trammell is right. It is a leadership position at the end of the day. You know, the party affiliation, the rules of our North Carolina Constitution makes it, a partisan election. That's not Justin Stamey law, that's the state of North Carolina. So we have to pick, to move forward to run as a Democrat or a Republican. Now, I will say one thing that I have not wavered on are my values. First and foremost, I will always put God first in my life. I'll always do that. Second, I will maintain the rule of law while preserving our Constitution. Third, protect the most vulnerable. That includes our children, our elderly, and victims of domestic violence. And I will always stand for law enforcement and first responders. So how that affects the roles of the Clerk of Superior Court? Listen, I've been a judicial official for a number of years now. I've heard and adjudicated a lot of cases. And it's about applying the law as it is written. And when I am elected your next Clerk of Superior Court, which is the ex officio judge of probate, I guarantee you that every case that comes before me will be heard fairly, impartially, and it will be applied to the law as it is written. Thank y'all.
I agree with Justin. The job of clerk, it's all statute. There's nothing that I can do any different than anybody else across the whole 100 counties in North Carolina. I've been a Republican for my whole adult life. I've served on the Republican Executive Committee, and I'm proud to say that I'm a Republican. I think that's about all I want to say about that.
Okay, I feel that I agree with them. It's all about statutes. There's nothing that I can really change. When you come in the office, I'm not going to ask you if you're a Democrat. I'm not going to ask you if you're a Republican. I wait on everybody like they're somebody. I'm not judging anyone. And that's really all I have to say is I just treat everybody with respect, and I hope everybody treats everybody with respect.
Technology is changing ever so fast, and I know that the Macon County Clerk of Court's office is in the midst of some changes. There's other changes that can be improved. We will start with Mr. Trammell with this one, but tell me what changes or advancements you would hope to see if elected to the Clerk of Court's office in the realm of technology that can be offered.
The Odyssey program, it's offered through the state. The issue with it is, right now, I think, personally, not working within the clerk's office yet, or this is more of a Shauna question, I think. I don't think the infrastructure there is for the Odyssey structure, or Odyssey program. The Odyssey program is an all-in-one exclusive thing where you can go online, you can ask for a reduction in a citation or a ticket, try to get a dismissal. You can file for name changes. A lot of small claims cases you can do through the Odyssey system, and it's going to be great if it ever gets to us. It was supposed to have rolled out a couple of years ago. I think we're way behind. I don't know when it's going to come to Macon County. I hope soon. But we have to have the infrastructure to provide that service.
Well, right now we have the e-courts, and what that is anybody that's in North Carolina, they can ask for a reduction of a speeding ticket. They can ask for like a common registration ticket to be dismissed, and they don't have to come in person, but that's through the district attorney's office. We have the NC Aware program now, and that's how we input our orders for arrest, and we communicate with the sheriff's department and all the departments. We are going to the Odyssey program. Right now, I'm actually working with the Raleigh, and I am inputting every court date that we have in Macon County to try to get it to be a smooth transaction. So when it does come, they'll know how to code our stuff in Macon County and stuff like that. And I have to put a limit, so we've been bombarded because of COVID, and we are really backed up. So I'm hoping that the transaction will get smooth, but it's not even to affect, I think, in 2024 in a couple of the bigger counties, just to do a pilot program to even see if it's going to come to Macon County.
Well, if COVID has taught us anything, is that we must be adaptable. Serving as a magistrate out there on the front lines, our courtroom had to be adapted. A lot of our hearings were virtual. So as a magistrate, I've encouraged law enforcement to use the magistrate video system. A lot of times it saves time on the front end for our law enforcement officers so they can get back on the road and doing what they do best, and that is protecting and serving, instead of having to wait at night for a magistrate to drive in there. Tyler Technologies is in an agreement with the state of North Carolina to have the Odyssey program here by 2024. It is coming, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to digitalize our filings and how everything is implemented here at our courthouse, and that's through all 100 counties. That's not, just a Macon County thing. It's across the state. So change is coming. But what we can do as elected officials is educate y'all on how this technology can benefit y'all. Now, there are a number of filings that can be started there at nccourts.gov/services. They are very limited. Right now, you still have to print them out and bring them to the courthouse. When this Odyssey system goes live, you can post this directly at your home, so you do not even have to come to the courthouse, which is going to make it more efficient and effective for everybody here, not only in Macon County, but in the state of North Carolina. Our job as elected officials is to educate y'all on and give y'all the information to make that transition that much simpler. Thank you.
Can you sum up what you think the primary responsibility or purpose of the Clerk of Court's office is, and what specific experience that you bring that can best address that over the other candidates?
We are the keeper of the files. We process the files. Whatever is brought to us, we get the files and we go to court. We do the estates, we do the guardianship. We do mostly anything that's asked of us. And what was the other part of it?
And what do you have that best puts you to be the person that can do that?
Okay. Well, with my 22 years of experience in the clerk's office, I know how to turn on the systems. I know how to input the civil stuff. I know how to do everything in our office, except a couple of things that I'm learning now so that I can be more beneficial to everyone that comes in the office. I'm working really hard. I love my job. I love my employees that work with us, and that's all I have to say.
So the role of our elected clerk, whenever you think of the clerk of court, you often see somebody there sitting next to the judge, taking the judgments there in court, or someone down there at the office taking the fines or the filings, and those are roles, important roles. First and foremost is the judge of probate. That judge of probate has the jurisdiction to oversee the wills and estates process after a loved one has passed away. They're also the ex officio judge of probate, and they hear and adjudicate cases that are called special proceedings. And these special proceedings can range from incompetencies, guardianships, adoptions, foreclosures, legitimizations, just to name a few. What separates me from anybody else in this race is that I have the experience already as a judicial official here in adjudicating civil cases, along with being certified in those particular areas of the law, which is the bulk of the cases that are heard by our elected Clerk of Superior Court. They're also a comptroller. They control the money, making sure that all money is distributed accordance to the general statutes. Like Shauna said, they're the custodian of records. We maintain the integrity of every filing that comes through that office. They're an administrator, so they make sure that individuals show up to court, either through jury duty or compelling witnesses to be there. And like Mr. Trammell said, they are a leader. And you got one leader to pick from here tonight, and that leader is Justin Stamey. Thank y'all.
There again, people, this is the job. This isn't something Mike Trammell made up. Thank you, Shauna.
You're welcome.
No, stand up, stand up. Don't hold it in front. There you go. This is our job. You know, we can't change anything about it. I'm the only one that has got leadership experience. What was the other part of the question? Shauna, maybe.
What do you have that makes you the most qualified candidate?
Okay, well, the leadership. Also, we've got to build some bridges within the clerk's office. Build some bridges between the clerks, the law enforcement, and the citizens. And that amounts to education. But there's got to be some better communication between all of us, everybody. Thank you. I won't make you do it again, I promise.
Okay, this is the last question, and then you'll have a chance to have a closing statement as well. What do you see as being the number one issue within the Clerk of Court's office that you think you can improve or make better for the citizens of Macon County, and how do you plan to do that? I don't know, Justin, it's perfect.
Well, right now, like we spoke on before, you know, our goal and our mission is to make it more efficient and effective for you. And through that efficiency, like we spoke on, is that Odyssey program and educating you, the public, on how to do that. You know, instead of having to, you know, there's people in Nantahala and Highlands that have to drive down because we only have one courthouse, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, right now, the statutes mandate that all filings must be conducted there on property at 5 West Main Street, Franklin, North Carolina. But with this new Odyssey program, it is going to streamline that process to make it better for the citizens, not only for Macon County, but for across the state of North Carolina. It's y'all's job to trust us, to educate you for that purpose. And when I'm elected, I will be out there on the front lines, not only in the courtrooms, not only in the office, but out there educating you on how this technology can better your lives, as far as if there is a circumstance that you have to come and make a filing there at the courthouse. Thank you.
It's about customer service, people. We've got to provide better customer service. It drives me nuts to walk in that courthouse and see the door to the clerk's office shut. If court is going on upstairs, there's no reason why our door can't be open in the clerk's office. Customer service. Plain and simple, that's what we've got to work on.
Brittany, repeat it.
What is one area of the Clerk of Court's office that you think can be improved on, and how would you do that?
Okay. I agree with Mike. I think customer service. I think we did open our doors back finally this week, and I think that everybody just needs to learn to respect each other and treat each other like they would be treated when somebody comes in the office. And that's it.
And then we'll finish, Sean, if you just want to stay up there because you're right there, if you just want to start with your closing statements for voters.
Okay, thanks. I just want to let you know that I am the only one that has actually been in the office. I've been there for over 22 years. I'm an assistant there. All of the people that I work with, they're like my family. I love them. I love my job. I love what I do. I might not be the best speaking in front of you, but if you come to me one-on-one, I can tell you what I have. Come by the clerk's office. I'm always there. It's not a 40-hour job. I work every day. Anybody can call me. All the deputies know they can call me. The magistrates know they can call me. Anybody knows I'm there to help with everybody that works in that system. I talk to the judges if they need help. I've talked to attorneys. They can call me when I'm on vacation, when I'm at my daughter's graduation. If anybody calls me, I'm there. I will answer questions. I'm just not a very good speaker, and I apologize for that. But that's all I have. Thank you. Have a good night.
Well, I appreciate y'all's willingness to come out and at least learn about a little bit of the role of our elected clerk of Superior Court, even though I probably would want to see that debate with Mr. O'Connell and Mr. Edwards. But, we'll save that for another day. When I first set out with this campaign, I made it a goal, to run a fair and clean campaign and not to smear any of these wonderful individuals. They're wonderful people. They work hard in what they've done. They served our community. But at the end of the day, it's up to y'all to evaluate us and make the decision here in this early voting period and on May 17th. It's a critical decision, that we put the right person in this position. And, a vote for Justin Stamey is a vote for experience, fairness, and dedication to serving all citizens to Macon County. Thank you all again, ladies and gentlemen.
I hate to keep beating the horse. There again, this position is about leadership. Building these bridges that need to be built. I agree with what they're saying. My mind just went blank. That's an example of where I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. Done it for 35 years. Like I say, leader, 25 years. 15 of it was over civil process, courthouse security. I've worked beside the judges. I've worked beside the clerks. I've worked beside the magistrates. Whenever I first announced that I was going to run for office, one of the first things I did was go around and give them each a letter. And in that letter, it outlined that I knew what they would be going through and to know that their jobs were secure. And I mean that. There's not going to be any kind of loss of any services if I'm elected. So please remember to vote. Mike Trammell, Clerk of Court.
So before we finish, you feel free to stick around and still talk to the candidates. I wanted to give Representative Carl Gillespie a chance to come up and speak to you. He does not have a challenger in this election. However, he is our representative, and that's only fair. So Representative Carl Gillespie, and then after that, talk to more candidates, and have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. First, let's give these folks a Brittany, so important to have folks like Brittany to put these things on, to give us opportunity to get up and speak before you and talk to you about a little bit about what we're about, what we think we need to do, and what our responsibilities are, and things of that nature. So thank you, Brittany, for doing that. I'm Carl Gillespie. I have the distinct honor of serving you in the North Carolina House of Representatives. I thank God every morning for that opportunity. I appreciate that more than anybody in here could ever imagine. Senator Corbin's not here. He's in Atlanta with his daughter. She's got some medical issues, and they're down there. And I just ask that you keep them in your prayers and ask that God's arms continue to hold them and keep them safe. But I'm going to say a couple things, and you're going to hear me say we. When I say we, I'm implying Senator Corbin. I don't have a rat in my pocket. I'm talking about my dear friend Senator Corbin. And we've got a great senator to represent us. No offense, Chuck.
But, you know, we had a successful year this year in the North Carolina legislature. We passed a balanced budget that Senator Edwards referred to earlier. That's a big deal. Nobody really thinks about the depth of that. But with the continuing budget since 2018, I don't know about everybody else's household, but everything's gone up in my household. And without that budget and the increases in it, all of the folks that gets funded through that budget, you know, they buy less. So that budget is a big deal for the state of North Carolina. There was a lot of policy that the House and the Senate agreed on. We had a little stumbling block with our governor. He didn't agree with us on everything. We did get some things signed by him, but not everything that we wanted to do. When you talk about this district, Senator Ford and I were able to bring $43 million worth of earmarked projects to this district. They were spread across my 4 counties. They're spread across the 2 community colleges in our district. A lot of good things that you're going to start to see rolling out in our counties because of that budget. You know, we were very fortunate in the legislature in this Western District to have a group that will work together. We continually communicate with one another. That's how we came to know Chuck Edwards. You know, he holds some very powerful positions in committees on the Senate side. And no matter how hard I work on the House side, I got to get it through the Senate. I know I can count on my senator, but I've got to help. I could get some help from other senators, especially those that are in very powerful positions. That gave me the opportunity to work with Senator Edwards. He has helped support our district. We've got an issue right now that we're fighting as hard as we can to support our trout farmers. It's regulation. It's not science-based. And Chuck Edwards signed on to a letter to help us fight that. He didn't have to do that. He chose to. So, you know, we've worked together. I've heard the Get Over With Network and all of that. But all of us know it comes down to building relationships. It comes down to who's sitting at the table and can we work with one another. And Western North Carolina has enjoyed that during this past legislative period. We all work together, we get along good, and we're able to accomplish some things. And I'm very proud of that. Brittany mentioned I'm running unopposed. But the way I view it, I'm running the last place. We had a big fundraiser this past Saturday night. I spent Sunday out in Cherokee County, last night back in Clay County, here tonight, and I haven't looked at the calendar for tomorrow night. I'm sure I'll be somewhere else. So I appreciate the opportunity to serve you. I will continue to work hard for you, and I just appreciate the opportunity that you've given me. Thank you.
Just a reminder that Thursday night we will be back here at the same time with all of the candidates for Macon County Commission. We would love to have you guys back out to talk to them, meet them, and ask them your questions as well. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Nice job. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. I'll have some edited versions of the